Okay, so we both of us are sitting, dad and daughter, in the lawns of my residence in the IIT Kanpur campus, and we are going to record our conversations. And for today's conversation, we have picked the kind of life experiences and work experience or work culture in the two different domains that we come from. Let me introduce Stuti. Stuti is my daughter. She grew up in this campus from, from childhood to class 12, after which she went out and became a trained architect and now works in Germany for last 3 years in a professional team. And as for me, I have been a professor here for last 35 years, spent most of my professional life in this campus. I have been a part of Department of Physics here and other interdisciplinary units such as Material Science and National Center for Flexible Electronics. So we come from two different domains. She is of course from two different age domain, and okay. So this conversation is going to be important for this interface between the two, and for today's conversation we are picking up work-life balance in her domain and kind of life that the academician's life in a campus like IIT Kanpur.
So actually we both find each other talking about various things a lot and disagreeing, agreeing, but it's always very interesting. And the idea was maybe it is also too interesting to other people, and if not, then at least we have a record of it, which is just good to look back upon for us. Yes. Also.
Right.
And yeah, I think it was just because I have been working since the last 3 years, and I'm on vacation here in Kanpur now, so we were discussing about work and work culture a lot, and that's how we chose this topic for today. But as we sit here in our lawns and we can immediately see our lane and all our neighbors, and it's surprising that so much later in life it strikes me, but all the neighbors who I almost consider like family friends, really like family, I saw them a lot more than my family when I was growing up. But then I just realized, okay, they're your colleagues. And then when I think about my work culture and colleagues, it's so different. Maybe I don't see them so much after 6 p.m. Like 5:59 is the most. And even if we sometimes see each other on our train back to home, then that's maybe the max of it. Yes, sometimes we hang out. It's not so divided.
So it means your professional life, yeah, and your personal life have a very sharp edge.
Sharp edge, yeah.
It's totally divided.
Yeah, yeah. And when I think about the kind of life that you have inside the campus, it's so weaved together, it's so entangled that, yeah, I almost wonder how my life would be if my professional setting was like that, where I see my colleagues when I go out to buy groceries, when I'm inside. They are my neighbors and my kids are playing with their kids. So it's a completely different kind of atmosphere. And it's very interesting to me because this topic of work-life balance is so contemporary and being so much talked about also amongst...
In many domains.
Many domains, also amongst Gen Z, for example. And yeah, so what do you think about it in contrast to a life where people want to, only have work-related things between 9 to 6 p.m. and then it's about other things. You completely detach. And when you live in a campus like this, you don't have an opportunity to detach really. So,
okay, in academics domain there are, for example, I chose academics for certain reasons. One is autonomy of operation, okay, the academic freedom, and hence these are the distinguishing characteristics of a domain like academic life. And so, and as comes to one thing is that whatever we choose to work on is of my choice. Nobody has told me to work on certain things, except that we are given courses by the department. And that also is according to my wish. They don't impose a course which I don't like to teach. So with that kind, so these are the distinguishing characteristics of a academic life, and that defines why, how we work, and why we choose to work in a campus. Okay, uh, the the work that we do research-wise, or even while preparing for a lecture, is extremely immersive. That is, when we do that, is that we are completely into it, but at the same time you can't be immersive for a certain time, and if it's 5 o'clock, then you can stop the clock and come out of it to your personal life. That's sort of not possible in a job like ours, okay, where generating options, different ideas, keeping your options about next action or ideas open for as long as possible. That's also there, but in our domain, it's a lot more, okay, that you keep your options open of what next to do or what next to think about, so that possibilities emerge. So that kind of immersive experience that is required, it is difficult or is not even desirable to switch on and off your thinking process. So yes, I come back from office after discussing with a PhD student and come back to our routine at household chores probably, or go out for shopping and things like that. But what we have discussed in the lab with the students is being
Always on your
processed at
mind.
the subconscious.
Yeah.
And campus life helps do that. So in some sense, we are always on the job. Okay. For example, we prepare for the lecture at night. I don't go back to office to prepare, and because once I'm in office, it's a different environment. I like my secluded study to think how to deliver the lecture. Even if I've done that lecture hundreds of times, just before the class next morning, I need to rethink, regurgitate most of the ideas and how to deliver it this time. And so this kind of atmosphere is sharp edge is not required or not desirable or is not possible, I would say. The other thing is it blurring of professional activities and personal activities? No, it is not blurring, but it is spreading it out at a desired level at different times of the day. So that you are both having the social life and the academic life. They are interweaved, but they support each other in some sense. Right? Suppose I have a problem at the back of my mind and it is being processed, and suddenly I see, I got the solution. Then while viewing the TV, I might take a break and say, oh, I'm going to the lab and let me try it out. And you have probably seen me doing that
Yeah.
at night, 10 o'clock sometimes.
Yeah.
Or a student calls me and they say, oh, that's not the way it to be done.
Yeah.
Because most of the experiments students are doing at night.
Yeah.
So that kind of operational freedom and is very much necessary in the academic life.
Yeah. But yeah, that's something I have also thought about, that me also coming to work with you at 10 p.m. in the night, and maybe it's a Saturday night and a student comes in and you have a discussion in our living room, basically.
Right.
And now when I am a professional, when I think about those things, I find it, wait, what? If a colleague barged into my living room at 10 p.m., that's a total no-go.
Right.
So yeah, it's very contrasting. But I am just curious about this topic when, for example, the next generation comes, and the Gen Z, Alpha, however, and they already have these ideas. It's because it's talked about so much. And how do they cope with
Yeah.
these things in campus environment or industry-like environment, and if that still continues the way you have worked.
Yeah. So, for example, people from your generations are also becoming professors. Okay. So they have a different background of work-life balance, and they've talked about and things like that. However, they also, I think, slowly co-opt because the environment sort of pushes them in that direction. In the so, for example, in this campus, we found that working with the PhD students and research and postdocs, the kind of culture, we cannot create an industrial product, right? Or it's very difficult to have the same kind of wavelength with industry. And because of that, we had to create another entity inside IIT campus which will be an effective interface between industry and academia. For example, the National Center for Flexible Electronics. It operates like an industry. Okay, so we are professors there, but there we have a different role. Okay, as a trustee, and there are scientists which work as if they're working in industry. So the notion of how an industry works, or how an industrial interface works, and how academia works are really fundamentally different. And if you don't realize that, then you will end up doing things in industry like academia, and in academia things in industry which is not desirable. They have separate roles, they have distinct roles, and they must match up differently.
Yeah, yeah. But I have to say, I think it's really nice that I had the opportunity to see how things happen in an academic environment, even though I'm not in academia. And because I am a professional and I work in more like a corporate office, I think there are certain things both worlds can borrow from each other, and it could be more ideal maybe.
Absolutely.
Because I also agree with the idea of a flow state and immersive. As an architect, when you are in a design process,
Right.
you can't say that I am going to think about this design from 10 to 11 and then switch to doing something else. You keep thinking about it until you have come to a solution to it.
Right.
But the constant problem that I face is once I am done with once it's already evening, it's 6 p.m. and then and I'm continuing to work, then the questions come up like, are you getting paid for this? Are you getting compensated for this? But do you have such feelings when you are in a campus environment and going to the lab at 10 p.m.?
In academics, the objectives are a little different. For example, it's not imposed. Problems are normally self-imposed or self-formulated, and it is formulated in a way in a differently than that. For example, you have a client. The client is specifying and the company is thinking of how to satisfy the client, and your problem comes from there. Here I'm thinking of a student or a problem that can be solved, and the student's aptitude, okay, his preparation is at what level, and I choose a problem for that so that it suits my purpose and it suits his aptitude and his competence. So this is a very different. For example, the kind of time your client would have a deadline.
Yeah.
In terms of time. In our case, in academics, it flows like semesters, right? So the concept of time is very different in a hierarchical setup, like in a professional or industrial setup, and inside inside academia. What could be done in a certain point of time is not merely quantitatively steps, okay, organized, but a lot more qualitative judgment is applied, okay, to figure out, let's see whether this can be done, right? And now at that time we don't specify, can it be done by tomorrow morning? Or maybe it will be done by tomorrow morning if something works out. Maybe it will take a week. This ability to keep your options of open, keeping the goal the rough goal, not a very swift goal, rough goal in the same direction is very important in academia. And hence the difference in notion of time.
Yeah.
Right? While as an industry, when an industrial partner, he says, can this design be finished by next week? Then we check into quantitative steps.
Yeah.
The steps involved are these. This will take this much of time from our experience, and we add up, and then we come with an answer.
Yeah.
That's very different.
Yeah.
That's really quantitative time. But in dealing with a MTech student or a PhD student, the notion of time is very different. We measure time in terms of in two measures. One is, of course, it has to be done within a semester for some things, very achievable goals within that period or part of a semester thereof. And what the student can do and should do, okay, ultimately, okay, within 5 years or 4 years. So these two parameters only play at the back of our mind, okay, and not so much that this week what will be done, okay. So our weekly thing is lot more in flow, okay, and we have to keep in academics our options open as much as possible, because possibilities emerge. Even we start off with a problem, and we know that this is not going to be the final problem that we're going to solve. We start off with a starting process to jog our mind and brain, and then finally almost near the solution we formulate the problem. It's a reverse, right? If you can do something significant, then what that significant problem answers, and then we reformulate it. So that option we have. So we can almost change the goal, right, as we go along, and that's not an option in a professional world.
Yeah.
And so in that sense, the nature of academic life and nature of industrial professionalism are quite different. Even though we have the same, we use the same dates and times 24 hours, but our notions are different.
Yeah. But yeah, talking about work-life balance as a very contemporary topic, there are also so many other topics related to work. There's AI, there's a lot of other tools, to network like LinkedIn. And for example, you didn't have these when you were starting to work. And in my opinion, I think you have quite an ideal career trajectory. Your parents never had to sponsor for your education. From one school to the other, to the college, you always got a scholarship. You were rather invited from universities. So in my opinion, I don't think you have to do anything differently. You took the right steps. But if you had to go back and use some tools from today and do differently, what would that be?
It's not true that it looks that smooth. A career choice is always career choice. Yeah. And at each point in your career there are fork, and you have to choose one. Let's say, even from my school days, at that time we used to choose which path, take liberal arts or science in class 9. Okay, so there was a fork, and one had to do that. And then after doing that, will you go for engineering or do physics? Okay. Would you go to an IIT or to a liberal arts university? So these are forks, and one has made choices. Looking from outside like you, it looks like, that's perfect, as if it's a plan. The career is never a blueprint. Career is always a progressing with options being chosen. In my career, for example, one of the high points where I had to, of course in class 9 I said science, because I was good in liberal arts also at that point of time, and teachers were telling me to opt for that as well. But I thought, if I do science, maybe I cannot do science without doing it formally. But I can do liberal arts or philosophy, my interest in philosophy or literature, even without being formally trained. That was my notion at that time, wrong or right. Okay, so I chose, let me do science, because science I cannot learn on my own.
Yeah.
It has to be a formal training.
Yeah.
So that's the way I choose. Similarly, after my PhD, there was a fork saying that, should I start working in India immediately? Or the other option was mostly going abroad and picking up a postdoc, right? In the first place, uh, I, even after undergraduate studies, a lot of people chose to go abroad to do their PhD. And I had chosen deliberately, that was more of reasons of ideology at that point of my age and time. Okay, that I will stay here and do my PhD and then I'll look at it. So that was so career could have been different if I had, let's say, branched out to do a PhD abroad. Maybe I would be a different person, all right? But I chose to go to Indian Institute of Science, and because I thought it is as good as
Somewhere
many
abroad, yeah.
good universities abroad, going to a B grade university abroad, okay, and doing a grade university in India itself. Of course, it was a little bit of ideology driven at that point of time. But after going in for a postdoc abroad or starting doing work, I found it again a bit of ideological, but even a lot more that there are places in India which will probably give me equal environment to do work. So why not start the job itself?
Yeah.
I tried out other IITs and finally came down to IIT Kanpur for its reputation in terms of freedom of work and autonomy of operation.
But so, which means you wouldn't have done anything differently.
Absolutely. In the sense that I have, of course, no regrets.
Yeah.
So I would still probably do the same things as I have done. Yeah, you are right. Even after folk,
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
the choices that I've made
Yeah.
seems to be justified backwards.
Yeah.
Looking at, that's in keeping with my aptitude. Okay, meaning, for example, I tend as a nature to avoid public interaction. Okay, a lot more with life of mind. So academics was sort of clearly suited for me, and within academics, the small folks. I think.
Yeah. Yeah, you have now been in IIT Kanpur for almost 36 years. And the next thing that just came up to my mind was about campus life. And I feel like when it comes to IITs, the immediate advertisement is always about placements. It's always about students, JEE, coming in, placement, Microsoft, Google, blah, blah, blah. And there's such less conversation about the quality of life that a person has who is working inside a campus, the quality of life of the family who is spending time inside a campus. And I feel like people don't talk about it, people don't know much about it, and I find it's so special growing up inside a campus, the kind of people you're exposed to, the kind of life that you have. It's very different from just growing up in a city, for example. So what are your few insights about it which maybe other people don't realize or know about, or could feel that that sounds very attractive?
Yes, right from the beginning I knew the academic life is the one that I'm made for in some sense. Okay, and of course I tried out going out and working in government organizations, scientific organizations, and I said no, that's not for me. Okay, because of hierarchy and a campus life is secluded, yes, because it separates you from the other, problems of the city and the urban living, and provides you a congenial atmosphere, okay, to spend as much possible in your thinking, okay, and in directing, in teaching, in directing young minds, in influencing younger minds. So in that sense, academic life is as a profession. Socially, it also sort of, you tend to, make friends of the same genre. Meaning they're all professionals and academicians.
Yeah.
So we don't have we have variety of disciplines, but as far as professionals are concerned, we have almost similar kind all over the campus. That's one thing. And sometimes I feel that yes, we miss that when I go home or outside, then tend to interact with others. But you are like a fish out of water.
Yeah. So I think I studied inside the school that is inside the campus until I was in class 5. And then you sent me to Delhi Public School, which is right outside the campus, nearby. But that's the time when I was really outside the campus,
Campus.
and I started meeting other people, like my schoolmates, whose fathers were not professors, and that was so new to me. I had only known people whose fathers were also professors, and so much so that even your friends who we met in other cities were probably professors of
Professor,
other
that's right.
campuses, in
Right.
ISC and IIT Delhi or something. And then that was a complete eye opener. Ah, okay. So yeah, it can be secluding,
Right.
but at the same time, I think uh, me and my other friends from campus, we had a really lovely childhood because it's so secure. We would be running around the campus the entire afternoon. You don't have to worry.
Right.
We would be on our bikes. Everyone is nearby.
Exploring the trees
Yeah,
and
yeah, and so much nature. We have
in the
beautiful
campus.
landscape here. We have a lot of flora, fauna, everything. Very safe.
Yeah.
You
So-
know everyone around. It's
See, facility-wise, uh, fortunately, campus life is equivalent to the richest places on earth.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
Let's say it could be anywhere in the US
Yeah.
or Europe,
yeah.
as far as campus facilities are concerned. Sometimes we don't see that advantage as a part of our salary. But if you can actually now add up and you see that this much richer, we are much richer even with a lower salary as an academician than some of the industry people who are drawing salaries
Exactly.
in 3 times or 4 times.
Yeah.
Okay, I can go to my office in 5 minutes. I can take a little nap after my lunch. Okay,
Yeah.
and I don't have to say sir to anybody. Okay, so these are the kinds of advantages of a professional life which many people are not aware of how rich it can be.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
or
definitely.
feeling of richness it can
Definitely.
be. Yes, your bank balance may not be so much as in a industrial job, but the quality of life balance is very, very high.
Yeah.
And people who know this,
Yeah.
okay, would not worry about the bank balance so much. If we still can, I can still send you to a good school, okay, or maybe an education abroad, and we can a 3 BHK house somewhere at the end of our life, okay, and that's good enough. If in the most productive part of our life we have a rich experience and a feeling of the job satisfaction, that's no match to any bank balance.
But I think maybe these are some things professional or big companies can borrow to provide more job satisfaction, to enrich
Yes,
their own
they
employees'
are
life.
building campuses
Yeah,
and
and
things like that.
enriching by people's life is not throwing a grand Christmas party where
Right,
where
all
you're
this
flying everyone.
Rajmatas is not required. Is
No,
not required.
yeah, or a holiday somewhere with your colleagues. There can be other qualities that enrich your
Right,
life.
right.
And
Just the a nice tenor of living with facilities which I don't have to worry about in the campus about a plumber, a phone call or just one email, the plumber, electrician, all that part is taken care of. So a large part of the problems are taken care of. So we are free to relax both in our enjoy our hobbies in the campus and our professional
Yeah.
and interweave together.
Yeah.
They are not totally separate.
Yeah.
Okay, you can invite your students to join in your music listening.
Yeah.
Okay, or chatting with them. They come from very different backgrounds,
Yeah.
and in fact, they become the bridge between the society and my knowledge of that society, because they bring very different backgrounds to this campus. So interaction with young people from different parts of society, different levels of society and different parts of the country is a very enriching experience.
Yeah, definitely. When you talk about different parts of the society, students, everyone along, um, at a very early age, I always you kind of mentioned it to me also. Even though I was a kid, you'd be like, when you were, for example, the head of physics department, that now I have to do so much administrative work. It's different from academic work. I sort of heard those things. Maybe I didn't understand them when I was that small, but now I do. Now actually I realize that no matter which field you are in, after a certain point, your job is really to manage people and interact with people and communicate. You have to work with interns, you have to work with seniors, you have to work with a team, and we are always only taught, for example,
as an architect.
yeah, as an architect, your subject, your profession, your skills, but we are somehow never prepared for this. We're never told early on, like, after 5 years of your working, this is what you're going to be doing. You're going to be managing. Of course, you are still doing what you have to do as an architect. You design and you manage projects, but a large part of your work is also discussing with clients, managing your team, writing emails. I always think, why wasn't this taught? So how do you see that role, and how
Yeah.
would you maybe advise younger people to balance?
In all domains, these skills have to be picked up as we go along. In academics, for example, is always academicians which are the administrators. Some academicians actually like the administration later in their life. Okay, I never liked them, but one had to do it as a part of a job. You are right, we have to do that, and that's a tough job because we are not trained to be emotionally dealing with personnel, right? But that's the main job as a manager. When I become head of a department, I have to manage faculty members, other faculty members, and they have their different demands, and that's outside my discipline or physics. At the same time, they expect not to report to a pure administrator. Okay, because administration only will give to see from the administrative point of view. Whereas in a campus like IIT campus, every academician would like to talk about his problems, even if they are personal or to an academician, because there will be an appreciation of that, right? And so we, for example, we are quite often we bend rules according to personal needs, and that an administrator would not have the power to do. Okay, or he would not have the insight and understanding, okay, of the problems, and that is why it is imperative that in an academics the administrators become the administration is done by academicians. But quite often it so happens academicians start behaving like worse administrators. All right, so that's the difference.
Yeah.
At the same time, one has to, because you have gone through the process and you have seen many, you tend to appreciate or pick up the skills required to listen to those problems and try and solving them. So we become, as academicians, interface between rules and the constraints of the administration and the academic needs of academic professionals. And that's a very creative job. That's not mere administration of signing or agreeing with the director or, okay. So that is a bigger purpose. For example, the purpose is my department, the people are happy about the department's interpersonal communications, okay, or the way the job is getting divided. Now that's no administration will understand. I have to understand whether there is a growing, okay, or recruitment is a big administrative process. And recruitment is so both professional and one of the most challenging things is faculty recruitment. Okay, and that of course no administrator can do. Okay, so the requirements are there. We are not trained. We pick them up. Some of them do badly. Some of them do well, but that's a part of it. Okay.
But when was in your career trajectory? When was the point where you realized, okay, or did you already know? Maybe because you've always been in institutes that you saw other professors, and you already know that this is a role I have to play.
In this institute, probably most IITs, you are given academic administrative responsibilities right from the beginning.
Okay.
Okay, for student management, for courses. So and it grows
Yeah.
as we become.
Yeah.
I joined this institute, and next day I was a part of something called SPGC. I was told, okay, this is Student Postgraduate Committee. Now, and they said, oh, you are a part of it. And then one had to, I didn't know anything about it, but we pick up. Only thing, you have a compass of what is right and what is wrong in an academics. So the rules are there, you get to know the rules, but you are always interpreting as an academic whether the rule is in the right academic direction or not. Okay, and then you are giving larger and larger, okay, committees, and so you get to learn. In some sense, it are qualities that you pick up on the job.
Okay. But did you also, for example, anytime feel like, yes, I'm learning on the job, but it would be nice if I could read something, or if I could
We always
some
do that.
outside something?
At least personally, I have done that.
Okay.
It's exhausting.
Yeah.
When you deal with other people's problem for which you are not trained.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's can be emotionally exhausting. Okay, it is. And then of course you look for some guidance, but that is not very systematic. Okay, it comes on your way. Somebody sends you an article and you read about that and things like that. And there are books on how to deal with it, but you don't have the patience to go through because it's not in your discipline. So you just want to solve the next problem, even administrative problem. Okay, so you want to somehow get by with. It is just empathetic listening is what I have picked up as the academic administration's central point. You listen, and the person who is speaking to you about his problems or the problem situation arising, and he realizes that you are empathetically listening. Then what you do, okay, and if you have done it sincerely, people in the long run appreciate that, right? And that is the central part of academic administration.
I think, yeah, empathetic listening could be
For everybody.
for every,
probably.
yeah, for
everybody.
everyone's
But in academics, it's
role.
very, very important. Okay, and you are people have a sense to see when you are doing it sincerely, okay, as a part of the system, and when you are doing it as a part of your own career advancement. That's a big, big difference. Even in academic life, you are as an administrator, other people see that you are doing it for your own purposes or your own academic ladder, then it disrupts.
Which may not be, I mean, both are right in a way. It's not.
No, but it should be seen that he's doing it sincerely for the collective, for the department. That's a guiding principle. And in that, both should grow. But as soon as, when there are people, there will be politics. In academics also there is politics, but of different kind. Okay?
Yeah, yeah. So when I talk about advice and reading, do you have any suggestions for not about just leadership or managing people, but something that could help professionals, young students in their work life?
I think just like in academics we learn, the students learn, the teachers learn to teach as we grow. Similarly, an organization also should be a learning organization. Like when you are working, how do you share a vision? Okay, unless the vision is shared or objectives are shared, not in written down purposes, but as a collective, and there is a learning involved there. So I think there is a new thinking coming up. How do you one learns? Okay, how do you, what are the things that you let go, and what are the things you let come? Okay, this process as an organization is important, and there are books. I will refer them to you, especially of Peter Singer's books, in the show notes.
Yeah, sure.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay, so one could, and these are the kind of books that help.
Okay.